This is one of the foremost speakers in the small business space, Anita Campbell, and she has also spoken to our class. But I wanted to show you how she used it, which is a little bit differently. Now, first of all, notice her numbers. You don't get numbers like that unless you're working at it all the time, you know, out there promoting yourself. People really like her. She says this is about small business trends and community. She gives you her book that she's got. She's given you her website. And the kinds of tweets she does reinforces her expertise and what she wants you to know about her. Okay? So this is a very effective way. And if I have a small business and I want help, maybe I'll just type in small business. Or maybe I will type in budgeting for a small business. And this way I can reach many, many people. Allison.
I'm just interested in being on the other side of it. I guess my natural inclination would be just to go to Google and look there. So what would I get why would I want to look on Twitter?
Well, I think that's a really good question. Google will definitely give you the most current information. It won't necessarily give you the top information on Twitter. And it used to be that Twitter was the only place you could get trending information. So let's say you had a hot subject you wanted, like how did Obama do in the debates tonight? I think Twitter would be a better source overall. And when you have a large company, as we'll see, you're getting in not one input, but hundreds of inputs, right? And Twitter gives you the tools to manage hundreds of inputs and to sort of figure out what you're seeing. I don't know if that's a good enough answer, but that's the answer I have, yeah.
We can talk about what's, you see trending, you see it on NBC in the morning, what's trending today? Would you be able to talk a little bit about that, is how you know what's trending? I mean,
they will tell you on the front of the site. You go into Twitter, you go into your account, they'll immediately tell you what's trending that day.
So that's like 10 items. If you wanted
yes.
to see 100 items.
Right. Right. If you wanted to see 100, I don't know. Maybe they give you a way to do 100. I've never looked for 100, so I don't have an answer on that. She's fit every little bit in that she can. And, you know, there's four or five whatever ways to get a hold of her. You could try this, you could try that, you can find her here or sign up. And it's a very good way. I mean, in that little bit of space, she's really created a space for herself. Okay, so another example of a company that uses Twitter really well, JetBlue. And look what they do on this. The first thing they tell you is don't come to us with your personal service questions, your customer. Go to our customer service people. And that way we can talk to you one-on-one. Well, that's kind of an interesting play. I was looking at another company, and they put up all these numbers of how you can reach them if there's a problem, and none of them work. You know, it's really very interesting. And in other words, they don't want you to really do it. They just really want you to think that they do it. And I think that's a very dangerous thing to do. But anyway, they put something up here. This is something that's very important to them, and I suspect that being JetBlue, they will respond to your issue. The other thing that you're going to see is that if they get 20 people complaining about something, or 50 or 100, they are going to respond to it, irrespective of what they say, right? When they had this terrible crisis of keeping people on the field at an airport in Connecticut for 7 or 8 hours, not letting them get off, they had a big brouhaha that they had to deal with. Everybody was filming it. Everybody was tweeting about it. They had to respond, and they did. So this is kind of a clean way to do it, and it doesn't look very different from the woman I showed you who's an individual person, or Anita, who's also an individual. You know, the nice thing about social media is you can look bigger than you are or smaller than you are. So the strategy on Twitter is to follow people for a while and get a sense of it. And, you know, for example, if so let's say you're in an industry, and since I'm focusing on the utility industry right now, I'll talk about that. What you want to do is you want to follow other utilities, and you want to see what they're saying, and then what people are saying back. And often, they get a lot of negative feedback, right? And you want to see how they handle it, and you want to see, you know, what happens. So you follow first, you listen to what's going on, and at that point, you create content. And the thing I'd like to embed in everybody's thoughts is that content should not be advertisements. That content should be of something of genuine, real value to the customer. That is what is going to bring them back, not your poster saying, you know, how great you are, you're the largest or whatever, the best. And then always analyzing all of the tools. And so one of the great things about the internet is you can always measure what it is you're working on. And for marketeers, that's really an advantage. And we'll be taking a look at Twitter and how they do it too. So what Twitter does well is enables you to do real-time communications. So if you're a utility and a storm hits, you want to get information out immediately. And the people on your Facebook page are just going to be a subset of the people that know about social media who follow you there. And Twitter is probably going to be a larger subset because a lot of people are not going to use social media. But for those who do, it's a very fast way to get information out and often information in. A power line is down on such and such a street. And letting people know that they can't drive or letting the company know they've got a problem. So this is the former congressman from New York who was using Twitter to do his romantic life. And he got caught, and then he had to go and he had to try to explain it to everybody. Anyway, Twitter is really, really great for customer service in particular, to help build your reputation, whether you're a small company or a large company, certainly to deal with a crisis or a real-time issue. And also if you're kind of trying to promote issue advocacy, because I can search on energy conservation and find out on this who are the people in a geography that are concerned about this issue. And I can interact with them, as we'll see. So you can do all sorts of things on Twitter, but it's a short burst as opposed to something longer.